Women marching in Washington County, they went up there.
So he started describing. I got the same thing you had. I said, oh, yeah. I said,
Oh, don't do that.
That's protocol. That's in the handbook.
oh, we stood up for you.
What y'all doing today?
Stood up for you.
Yeah. What class did you control?
I'm building everything.
He is.
I'm building everything the fire department. Oh, that's good.
You're gonna take credit for it, whether you give it to him or not. Yeah.
Well, I guess the transfer case up a week out on the ground, here's the building, so I have to put your market.
That would make sense. That would make sense. But that's the concept. I'll look at that. But as part of their business, take Brad's concept. Because everything.
That's so it don't matter. It's too cold.
Yes, he is. Younger fellow. Everybody's a younger fellow to me.
Adorable. You know him though, right? You know him from the walking tour. That's Zach.
Oh, is that
Zach? Yeah, I know. And he's so precious. I know.
That's all right. I just realized who you were.
One time we did it, like we had big melatonin.
Oh, Miss Jack.
I don't like mine.
Zach, yes,
Yeah,
nice young man. She's slim today.
that's who he was. All right.
I did.
Oh, Cass, we can start.
We're still waiting on Tom.
Oh, he's not coming.
All right, if you all are ready, we'll go ahead and start. This is the January 23rd work session of the Elizabethtown City Council. Councilman Bishop will bring the invocation.
May we pray. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for watching over each and every one of us as we've gone about this day up until this point. We ask that you be with all of our sick and shut in, those who lost loved ones. We ask that you be with our employees as they go about giving quality service to our citizens and being with all of them and their families. We ask that you watch over us, lead us, and guide us as we discuss the business of our community. In your son's name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Page going to talk about our sewer drainage projects.
Yes,
And what has the city torn up, all the streets. Huh?
exactly. I'll tell you all of that. But first, I want to notify you all of some upcoming road closures. Part of the Poplar Drive improvements project, West Dixie Avenue will be closed this weekend, Friday, the 27th at 7 p.m. through Monday, January 30th at 6 a.m. That's to cross the Dixie with the sanitary sewer installation. And also the Village Drive improvements project, they will be at Village Drive come January 30th, Monday through Thursday, February 2nd, from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So it'll be open during the night and it'll be open during the weekend, but they will close it again the following week at the same schedule, but that'll be Monday, February 6th through Thursday, February 9th. And detours will be provided the same way on Dixie as they have been through Maple Street to West Poplar Street, to North Mile Street. And then detours will be provided for the Village Drive as well. To get to the Village Drive sanitary sewer project, I'm just going to let you know what has been completed and where we're at now, and then what you all can expect from here. So this is a sanitary sewer rehab project replacing the deteriorating existing sewer system in the Village Drive area, and it's going to increase the sewer flow capacity and eliminate any of the infiltration that we've have now currently in that system. So that's approximately 10,000 feet of sanitary sewer that we're installing roughly, ranging from 8 inches to 30 inches in diameter and size. And we're going to be constructing about 70 sanitary sewer manhole structures with that. Currently, the Conhurst contractors for the Village Drive project has installed around 5,000 feet of that 10,000. So they're almost to the 50% mark of completion on the project. This project is known for the sanitary sewer improvements, but there is a drainage improvement that are going to be they kind of already started at West Poplar Street at the entrance to the Helmwood Plaza. So they're going to be taking out the existing drainage inlet in the middle of West Poplar Street at that entrance to the plaza, and they've already started constructing the drainage curb inlets and some of the drainage structures that tie into that existing system. What to expect from here on out, they're going to continue the installation through Village Drive and Menendez Lane, and progressing to eventually cross Springdale Drive, Spring Drive, Orchard Drive, Broadway, North Mantle, Joan Avenue, and eventually finishing up near Pure Orchard Road. Yeah. And then beginning in the spring, residents should start seeing a lot of restoration crews coming through there, addressing up any disturbed areas. And in the spring, when it warms up, the asphalt plants opening back up so they can begin restoring the streets as well. Does anybody have any questions on the Village Drive project?
It's all gonna be worth it, right?
Yes, it has been gratifying seeing some of the old mains and how bad a shape they are when they've exposed them, and a lot of the manholes that you've seen overflowing they've already been replaced. So there's already been some benefits from what's installed so far. So residents shouldn't have to worry about any sewer backing up into their homes in this area once it's complete.
Michael, I do have a question.
Sure.
I had a constituent call me last week. A situation where he's got some rentals on Mantle, North Mantle.
Uh-huh.
Dug up. The dirt mounds have been there for a while.
Uh-huh.
He's got one rental that people are complaining. They said if that dirt is not, evened out, that they're planning on leaving.
Uh-huh.
He had another problem with a home. He can't get it rented because of large dirt mounds in the back. He asked me if something could be done temporarily. He understands that you guys have still got work to do, have to finish up, but he wanted to know if you all could do something temporarily to get rid of the dirt mounds.
I've heard those same issues from other residents through there, and we have stressed the importance to the contractors to at least move or reduce that amount into the easement and not so much in trying to interfering and impeding on their property. When things dry up a little bit, they'll be able to remove all the additional debris there and needed backfill now. Once they can get a truck back there. Right now, it would make more damage than at this time with the way it is.
And another thing, I was walking the other day and past the Poplar intersection there. And there was some huge ruts from the temporary gravel, mounds were forming, and I saw 3 cars bottom out as they were passing. I went ahead and called that in, but I just wanted to make you aware that, you know, when it's rainy and cars are passing
Yes.
through, the cars are bottoming out at that area there. So,
Yes, and that particular area does have a lot of traffic through there, and doesn't take long for something like that to occur, especially when it's as rainy as it has been. That is another point we stress with contractors, to maintain the roads as best they can, and to be washing them even through the weekends. I believe I was notified of that as well during the weekend, and contractors were available. They got out there as soon as they could and fixed it up. So it's until they can really get something solid. You know,
That's why we're doing what we're doing.
Exactly.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else on the village, or I'll get over to the bigger, but not any less important project, the Poplar Drive improvements project. That's improving the drainage and the sanitary sewer system. This project extends from the U31W bypass near College Street and progresses through Willow Creek until you get to Helm, across Dixie, and eventually to Poplar Drive. This includes 2,000 feet of reinforced, approximately 2,000 feet of reinforced concrete box culvert that'll run from the Strawberry Alley basin to crossing Dixie, across West Poplar Street, and then eventually be running down the middle of Poplar Drive until it'll get to the basins near Hardin Street. There's also approximately 5,000 feet of sanitary sewer force main, 600 feet of storm sewer pipe, over 7,000 feet of gravity sewer main being installed. There's roughly 3,000 feet of water and gas utilities that have already been relocated to make room for that box culvert we're putting through down the center of Poplar Drive and other utilities. Currently, the contractor has installed roughly over 3,000 feet of sanitary sewer force main from, that's the utility from the bypass to Dixie, to those neighborhoods. And they've actually already all the way up to West Poplar Street with the force main. Also, they've installed over 1,000 feet of gravity sanitary sewer main, and they've done some rough grading on the Strawberry Basin, and also installed some sewer structures at the basin as well. So they're approximately about 35% complete with that project. Currently, you'll see the contractors, Mac Construction, they're staging the area between West Dixie and West Poplar Street with the box culvert. So they're getting ready to actually start installing this structure, and that'll begin this week. And once they're fully across Dixie and West Poplar Street, which I would imagine the next month they'll be through that, then they'll finally be to Poplar Drive. Once they get to Poplar Drive, it may appear that they're going a little slower, but they're going to be installing all the utilities at one time as they go up through there, instead of installing one sanitary sewer line and then coming back and having to disturb those residents and their entrances again and again. So they're going to go, 20 foot, 20, 30 foot section at a time that they'll have opened up. But I'm hoping by the end of February, realistically, they'll be at that point. So once this project is complete, residents shouldn't have to worry about any flooding to damaging their homes and sanitary sewer backing up into their basements and their sump pumps constantly being on. We're going to be restoring the street, realigning Poplar Drive with West Poplar Street intersection, and sidewalks, entrances will be restored, and all the handicap sidewalk ramps will be ADA compliant. So it should be a nice, pleasing walk once everything's finished and complete.
It's all going to be good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I know the residents are out there. So, y'all have any questions about Poplar project? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. We appreciate it. Robert's going to update us now on the Amanda Joe detention basin. Tonight, we're getting updated on our projects.
It's engineering night.
Absolutely.
Passed out some stay awake
Yeah,
energy drinks or something. That would have been good. Good deal. Good deal. We do too, and I appreciate that, Councilman. We're going to shift gears a little bit from Michael's work and move over across town and look at our Amanda Joe Basin. We're well underway with this project, and I guess if you want to start the slide show, this is kind of how we started. Pretty much a little ditch in the middle. Here's the trailer park to one side of us. We're in Buford Lane right there at the intersection with Ring, and it's an ideal location for a detention basin. But this is the way we began the project. So a lot of common excavation of the project, over 8,000 yards. Is that to date, Desiree, or is that total to date? So that's and we're probably pretty close to total quantities. Part of the project, to get the sanitary sewer to work, we had to cross really the basin with the sanitary sewer. This triple elliptical concrete pipe provides the opportunity for that. We have currently a sanitary sewer running perpendicular to this alignment over here to that trailer park area, and then down the watershed. So it's one of those nuances. It's sometimes it's hard to retrofit things back where you've got existing infrastructure. Sometimes you got to use a little imagination to get there. But that's what this is, the outlet structure. It's a 12 by 5 RCBC, reinforced concrete box. It sounds like a large outlet structure, but when you look at the upstream structures that are delivering water to this, it is a substantial reduction in flow. This thing is poured in place, and you can see some of the workmanship going into that. This is the final poured box with still with the form still on, with the form stripped. Kind of get you a flavor of the construction as we're moving along through it. It's piece by piece, and of course, some major work. Part of the real work of what we're trying to do is, of course, build a dam. And to do that, we have a lot of excavation we're having to do, and you can see the rock cuts that are involved in this. That final slab down there at the bottom, it was a very clean slab that we ended up finishing off on. It's a bunch of work to get through, hammer through that work. Of course, right there adjacent to the residential area. Amanda Joe subdivision is just, Amanda Joe Drive is just on the other side of that tree line. So it's not something you want to blast. We precluded blasting in the project, so it will take a little more time, but I think the net result is, we'll have a better product, and our neighborhood adjacent to us will think a little more of us as we go through it. This is the setting, or at least developing the rebar up and the foundations on that same side. This would be on the west side. That's the reinforcing steel scaled up, and you can get a feel for scale when you see that scaffolding right there, the yellow scaffolding. That's a two man tall scaffold. So it's quite a it juts up out of the ground there quite a bit from our base slab where we started. So it's pretty impressive. And you say, how do you get concrete in it? Well, you use the pump truck, and you dump concrete into that, and the pump delivers concrete up to the top, and those two guys are up there tamping and making sure it's going into the forms well. So that's the kind of thing you do. But this is, again, in that west training wall. That's it, then final form. And again, you can see the scale of the thing versus that box culvert that we were just looking at versus the houses in the background. So there will be, of course, RCC between this training wall and the other over the top of the box culvert. And it'll be quite a bit of structure under the ground. So our work currently, this is right up to last couple of weeks. We're on the opposite side, the trailer park side, the east training wall. Same process. We're developing up the reinforcing steel. You can see the forms. The form rentals on those are very, very expensive of that size. They don't want to let those lay around the project very long, but you can see the reinforcing steel being tied up. Guys, again, for scale, you can see the guys standing there as far as how high that wall is. This is a little bit of a summary. We started this thing, we bid it March 3rd at $1,927,361. We started the construction May 9th, and we had a change order, which changed some of the front face wall. And the idea there was to make it more buildable. And well, the net result is we ended up with a little cost savings in that change. It made the contractor's job a little better and reduced some of the quantities that we had to actually build. So we, part of that, though, we had to step back and reconfigure and reorder reinforcing steel for that face wall. So it cost us a couple 3 months right here in the winter time, but it didn't really bother us because it's been spent, you know, really slogging through the mud here in the winter. So we couldn't have finished it up anyway. So we can tie the extra steel right now, but we're about halfway complete at 52%, over 900, almost $1 million paid. And our contractor is Scott Ritter and Bowling Green, and we're getting a good job out of them, and we're pleased with working with them, and so far so good. Got a lot of materials that have been generated as part of this project. We're having to haul away some rock and other debris that's well, all that rock you saw that came out of that all that excavation had to go somewhere, and there's not enough room at the site, so some of that's leaving the site, and I think it's been filled in an area pretty close by. So, and again, we're a little short on fill material there at our site, so we're gonna have to export some of that in. So that's yet to be done. So, but we should be in good shape to finish up the spring and have this project completed. Overall, you know, it gives us some immediate benefit right in Shaw Creek. You know, it's part of a series of basins that we're building in Shaw Creek to reduce the impact of storms in that watershed. But as we put more of these things in place in the bigger picture, it also reduces the impacts on Valley Creek itself. And that also backs up into, in a good way, into Freeman and our other ditches. So our other creeks. So in a way, you know, every drop of rain we can hold here, it helps that stuff down at where it all comes together, just right down the road here. It makes all that work a little better and makes it all worthwhile. So we think we're making some headway, and piece by piece in our master plan. So that said, is there any questions about the project? Turn the lights on and wake everybody up. Yeah. But if you have any questions, I would be happy to respond, or I've either bored you.
Y'all crush that rock up before you haul it off.
Actually, no. I think some of it is probably going to necessarily be crushed. Some of it is great big boulder size. If we can haul it boulder wise and boulder size and then get it to the site and use it somewhere, it'll probably just go. The more you fool with it, the more money you spend. So there is that trade-off of getting it in a truck and not damaging the truck. You know, if you drop a boulder the size of that, half the size of that desk in a dump truck, it might be like that Ford commercial. It might go on through. You know, it's one of those things. But that's all I got.
Thank you, Roger.
Thanks for the opportunity to update.
Thank you very much. Scott, we're going to talk about project bonding again.
Thanks, Mayor. I don't have an update tonight, but I have a question for you all. Right now, our city policy is any bid that is over $20,000, we bid it publicly per state law. But we require bonding on that. We require bid bonds, payment bonds, and performance bonds on that. And running into a little bit of an issue on the construction side of the world when we have smaller construction jobs of getting enough qualified local contractors to bond projects. So wanted to have a conversation with you all to see if we can relax some of those requirements for bonding on projects. If there's certain projects we can do that on and certain projects we can't do that on versus, as a dollar amount or complexity of the project. So just wanted to open a dialogue with you all. This, of course, will affect not only facility side of the world, but stormwater and engineering and planning and all the departments that bid anything out. Because like I said, right now our policy is we have to bond all of that. So
I thought we said we would take a letter of credit instead of the bonding process, which would be easier for most contractors to get.
Yes, sir.
In a timely manner.
And it's,
I think
letter of
the
credits are
credit's
actually
easier. It's better for the city because we don't have to go through all that hassle of trying to call a bond.
We like a letter, yeah, we finally.
We always like letter of credits. Actually, we will take checks. That's even better most of the time. So cash, Charlie's taught me well. Cash is always good. Always take the check, ask questions later.
Let us get to the bank before we take it. Get a check taken, right?
So like I said, I just wanted to open the conversation because we have a few smaller projects coming up on building construction side of the world.
Smaller meaning what?
As in the salt barn, it's a 60 by 40 structure.
Dollar amount though. You think?
For this entire thing or for the salt barn itself? $150,000.
Can't take a letter of credit.
And then we have, the new office building at the lake. We have the golf house up at American Legion that's in the budget as well.
On the larger projects and the larger contractors, you're not having.
I'm not asking to change that. I mean, and that's where, like I said, our policy right now is anything over $20,000. So do we come up with a dollar amount or do we come up with complexity of the building, or is it a combination of those two? So that's why, and I wanted to open the conversation today. I know this is hitting you all out of the blue, and then maybe come back in a couple of weeks and we can answer further questions and see where we are.
Some assurance. But again.
But what form
letter
of
of credit, huh?
Yeah, letter. Okay.
I would say a letter of credit. We would take a letter of credit on those projects that size.
Is it 5%? Is it
Letter of credit's for the amount.
for the entire amount?
For the entire amount. Or you could do it to 5% of the amount. I mean, if that's what we're requiring on a bond.
Bid bonds are 5% of the bid.
But I don't know. I'm more concerned
What was that?
about
I'm sorry.
performance than the bid.
Right. And I meant to point this out. We also require under our contracts right now for lien waivers to be signed monthly when we do our,
Yes.
when we should be getting lien waivers from all the subcontractors saying, hey, I got paid this month. So is a payment bond on a small project really worth the hassle if we're getting lien waivers as well?
If you're getting a lien waiver, again, you have the right to call that letter of credit.
Suppose, yes, it would be covered that way as long as it's not written, so it's only specific to the performance of the work.
Or you could write it in there, couldn't you?
Right.
In that letter of
Yeah,
credit
we'll have to
be written
rewrite.
for the-
We'll have to rewrite our contracts too. Right now, our contracts are our bonds. So,
So Scott, are you wanting guidance for a dollar amount on the letter of credit?
Well,
Is that what you're asking?
I'm asking first, do we even want to consider it? Or are we, as a city, saying no, bonds are the only way we're going to do it? And it limits us on contractors. I mean,
That's the difference, Marty. Explain.
It's the
I understand
process.
the bonding side.
Yeah, I mean, the letter of credit basically is you're going to the bank, the bank's going to underwrite you because they're saying, we're going to make you a loan.
right.
And we have done our due diligence to say that you can repay that loan. And it's a quicker process. It's less. It's $150 to $200 to get the letter of credit issued by the bank. So
But is there money sitting there if we call the letter?
yes,
Is
the
the
bank,
money-
the bank
bank
has
is
to give
guaranteeing.
you a check, and then they then have the agreement with whoever they issued that to, on behalf of, they're gonna work out payments with them.
So the first question is, do we want to change it all, or do we just want to keep it the way we've always done it? And second, if we do want to change it, are we looking at complexity of the building or other construction project, or are we looking at a dollar amount?
Well, I think first of all, that I think we're in agreement that a letter of credit would be sufficient for the smaller jobs and the smaller contractors.
How are you gonna
But
define the smaller
That,
jobs?
that was my next question.
Yeah, that's the question.
Tell me at what point do you not see a resistance, and at what point do you have plenty of people bidding on jobs?
Well,
$1 million, $500,000?
Yeah, I think where it comes into play is, and it's really, really complicated because we never know how many bidders we're going to get because we don't know how busy people are when we send projects out to bid. So it's really hard to say, but it's what the dollar amount is to get contractors that are not here in town to come visit us. So a Louisville contractor down here, a Bardstown contractor over here, a Bowling Green contractor to come up here. Is that dollar amount $1 million? I would say that if they're hungry enough, that $1 million project is a good project for them.
I know, but I guess my question is, are they not coming to bid on the job because they think when they get here, they're gonna have to have a bonding issue, or are they not coming because they're just not hungry because they're busy?
Or size. I mean, they're going to say $150,000 project. I'm not going to E-Town to bid that $150,000 project where we require bonding. So, we limit ourselves on the number of local contractors that have
You
a
think
bond.
bonding's the reason why they're not coming?
No, I think size of project for the companies, Louisville, Bardstown.
It's two different issues.
Yes.
Because they can get.
But the bonding problem comes in if it's a small project
Right.
and we're not getting those outside firms, then we're limiting ourselves to the number of contractors
Do you remember
locally
the
that can
deal
bid.
we just did on the roof?
The bonding was one of the issues with that one group.
What, over
Because he had not,
$30,000?
he had not bonded before, and so he was having to go
Right.
through that lengthy process where you could have gotten a letter of credit. I think what you have is you have the bigger contractors are not gonna come down here on, they're bondable, they understand the process, they've got them ready to go, but they're not gonna come down on a smaller dollar project.
Oh.
Those contractors that would be interested in bidding on those smallers really don't wanna go through that bonding process of the hassle of that. And so I think you open it up for.
And that's what
Yeah,
I'm trying to
basically.
do. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Can we take these on a case-by-case basis? Are we legally bound to set a dollar amount?
We're only
bonding
legally
versus-
bound to bond something that's over $20,000, which is an antiquated rule, as you can
Right.
imagine, because
No, I
that's very small.
don't, I think we have to bid anything over
That's
$20,000.
what, I'm
You
sorry,
said
did I say
bond.
bond? I meant bid.
Yes, we have to
That's
bid,
what-
we have to
Other
bid
than
anything
that,
over
it's
$20,000.
policy.
Yes.
So we can do what you all feel like is appropriate and most effective. And I would just say that our history has been that, trying to pursue bonds has been not very effective. It's been a lengthy process. It involves litigation, and it's been very difficult. So our preference has been to go with the letter of credit, but I know that is not without its issues for, the contractor either. So,
Well,
There's
like,
cost
for
to it.
example, what kind of bond would be called that the insurance company would honor?
We had that with
the
subdivision, Cedars.
Well, that's a,
Cedars, that's
Yeah,
right.
yes.
That was one of them. And we
that-
also
that's a
did
different kind of
That's a
bond.
different kind of bond.
Um,
That's not
we
the
had
same
a,
bond.
um, Since I've been here, I can think of one instance we had to call a bid bond and the
Oh, performance bond?
no, a bid bond.
Okay.
We had a contractor bid a project. They came back after we bid it and we were ready to accept their bid. And they said, we left out
Right.
all this right here. So we're not gonna, our bid's no
We're
longer
not
good.
bid, right.
So we said, okay, we're gonna call your bid bond
For 5%.
for 5%. And they decided to pay that instead of going to the bond company.
Gotcha.
So that
performance.
wasn't
A problem with the bond.
Performance and
Okay.
payment bonds and bid bonds. I can't think of any issue we've had from a contractor side of the road because we
Okay.
just don't call them that often.
Yeah.
And that's the other
ours
thing.
has been on the performance bond side when we've had issues.
It's on the subdivision side of
Yeah.
the world.
A performance bond is just saying the contractor's guaranteed to
Right.
do this job at what they
I-
bid. If
Ed,
they
do you know
don't,
of any
they
we've called
default.
since
Right, company comes in, yeah.
just that bid bond?
But then you have to litigate all.
So
you just-
then, here we are on smaller projects, on smaller projects for something that we've never called before. We've called one bid bond. And as far as I know, we've never called a performance and payment bond. We're paying for those as part of the contract.
Sure.
So the contractor's just, hey, If I have to get, if I have to do 5%,
Part of his bid.
it's part of my bid.
Right.
So then if we've never had an issue, on a smaller project, do we need it?
Well, the minute you don't do it.
You may never have used your car insurance,
I
but I
know.
bet you don't drive without it.
That's right.
Well, that would be against the law.
Yeah.
And I try not to get arrested most nights. So
And we don't want you to decide tonight. We
Right.
just wanted to throw
I
it
just
out
wanted
there
to
so
start the
you all can
conversation.
start thinking about it and researching and deciding what you want to do.
Letter of credit is probably a good tool to use, especially to be able to get local contractors more involved, because as you're saying, it's a little more difficult to go through the bonding process for a $25,000 job for a local contractor. And the 20,000 level is the bidding amount, and we've always just used that as the level of administrative. Okay, if we're going to be bidding it, we're going to be bonding it also, or at least some form of surety. So I think what you have to be comfortable with is the 20,000, is that a good number to use? Because really it amounts to the risk that's involved to the city. So if you're willing to take more of a risk on the administrative ability for the city to make sure that the job is getting done, that they're not getting behind, that they have been paying their subcontractors, we're getting lien releases on payments and all that. So what number is that? Is it 50,000 that you think is a risk? It could be a different scale depending upon the job that it is and the complexity of the job. It might be a $40,000 concrete job. So, pretty simple. You're going to go out and pour concrete for $40,000. So is it necessary to have the bond, or even letter of credit still would be good, but are you okay with 40,000 that we can do a $40,000 concrete job, because either they put it in or they didn't. We're not going to pay them until they did and that we're satisfied with it. Now, you can get into other issues as far as disagreements about whether or not they argue, well, we did what you said, and we say, no, you didn't. So you can have that argument, but you're going to have that whether or not have sureties or not. So again, I think it's just a matter of getting comfortable with what level, and again, it could be a sliding scale of what level that you're satisfied with, that, okay, we're not going to do a bond or even a letter of credit on this one. Or yes, we want to do a letter of credit for everything that's over 20,000 or everything that's over 50,000 or whatever it might be.
Some of the protocol and policies that we've probably adopted over, used to a $20,000 project was a decent project, and now it's nothing. Can't even buy the tractor for $20,000. So we might need to upgrade our policies, keeping in mind what things cost nowadays.
Well, hopefully the legislature will on the bidding process too on that amount too, because it's.
Because $20,000 is nothing.
Sure, they're related, the dollar amount and the complexity, obviously. There are some things that say that are, just a straightforward project. They're going to do this, and we're going to see that it's done and know that it's done properly. So let's not put everyone through the difficulty and the extra cost and whatever doing these, either the bonding or sureties for those. But there are some things that have a lot of different parts to it, and you don't want to be out there. You don't want the city to be risking $150,000 or somebody that walks away and doesn't finish the job. That's the
right,
because they're still going to demand payment on whatever they say they've done
that they finished.
Yeah.
Charlie, I guess as policy, the other problem I would see is how would you define complexity? It's one of those things, it when you see it.
Right.
In that case, you take it by case basis.
And that's what I'm saying. Yes, we can make those decisions case by case. And your question to Dee Dee was appropriate. Is it a problem picking and choosing? Because if we do that administratively, we might be saying to one contractor, well, we're not comfortable in doing the $40,000 job with you, but the next guy, or for a different type of job, yes, we are. So can we get comfortable and feel
I would rather set some guidelines, even if in the future we revisit those guidelines and change them, up them or whatever we need to do. But in order we make sure and play fair with all the contractors, let's set some guidelines so you don't have to take it on a case by case basis, because if you do that, what comes into play, you did.
Well,
take
I mean,
them.
it's not a, yeah, it's not a contractor by contractor instance, it's a project by project. Because
I'd rather have some
when we-
guidelines as to the.
when we send out a project to bid, that's when we say, okay,
That's right.
you have to do this or you don't have to do this. And it's
Right.
fair to all the contractors bidding on that.
That's right.
I mean,
And that way you
so-
treat them all the same.
correct.
I think that's when you start looking at the scope of the project. You
Correct.
start seeing what's needed for that particular project. That's where the complexities begin to change.
Yes, it is.
And I think we would need a little bit of flexibility in the policy.
There's always, flexibility is always good. So give you all time to think about it, revisit it in a couple of weeks. Put some thoughts together and we'll come back together. Thank you all.
Thanks, Scott. Mr. Skees, do you have a report from the Heritage Council? Mr.
just wanted
LaRue, do
to-
you have a report? All right. This morning, I got a report from the State Theater that they only had 10 tickets left.
Wow.
And I would think by now those are probably gone. I don't know. So that was pretty fast sellout for them, I think. Hey, guys, you all have anything? Okay, that's it. Thanks for coming.
Yes, so that's one thing, and guess who wants to meet with you and Robert again? His last name starts with W.
Yeah.